So coming from California, it took me a while to kind of, I guess, slow down to Idaho life, if that makes sense. So it took me about a year to figure that out. And then I realized over time that it is all about relationship in the valley, 100%. So just kind of connecting with the networking groups, having people surrounded in those networking groups that were abundance thinkers, whether they were wholesalers helping out with deals, whether they were other flippers or other investors sharing contractors, whether they were sharing resources for hard money lending. As long as you share, people will share with you. So I think you lead with value, provide value, and people will take care of you.
Welcome to the Boise REIN Show, your destination for creating wealth through connections in real estate and business. Are you looking to become a real estate professional? Do you want to start your own successful real estate business? Well, I'm your host, Matt Osanicki. Join us as we learn from the brightest minds, industry leaders, and experienced professionals, equipping you with the knowledge and confidence needed to make informed decisions and thrive in the ever-changing real estate landscape. Your journey starts now. Welcome back to the Boise REIN Show. I'm your host, Matt Osanicki, and today we've got a very special guest, Chris Wolford. In real estate, there are many facets of avenues that we can take. And I know we talk about this all the time, whether it's wholesaling, flipping, burring, property management, creative finance. There's so many different avenues you can take. And in today's episode, what we're going to talk about is what it looks like to do them all. And I can't think of a better person to bring on than Chris Wolford, because he has the systems, the know-how, but most importantly, the discipline and integrity it takes to manage so many different businesses in real estate. It is all fun. It's all fascinating. I got to be honest with you, I am super excited to learn these too. So without further ado, Chris, can you give us a little rundown on who you are, where you came from, and some of the projects you have going on and the different businesses you've built?
For sure. So first of all, thanks for having me. I guess a little bit about myself is I'll kind of start a little further back on starting to get into real estate a little bit. So back in 2015, I was about 10 years into the Air Force. I was a recruiter in Southern California. I had a couple knee surgeries from playing maybe too much softball. I'm not sure.
That's what you do in the Air Force? You guys play softball?
Yeah. And a lot of sitting.
Right on, right.
So trying to figure out what I was going to do because I was worried about a waiver, coming back from my knee surgeries, that sort of thing. Turns out I just needed to run more. Running sucks, whatever. But anyways, I got my real estate license. I got inspired by a guy that I bought my third house from. He was a 4-year Marine guy. He got out, and then started a real estate team, pretty successful real estate team in Southern California. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I can do this. You know, being in recruiting, real estate, kind of hand in hand, right? I did that for a few years. My first year, I sold one house. So I wasn't too successful.
I know the pain.
I figured it out after a while and kind of doubled my business every year, a little bit more rapidly. In 2018, we did 61, I did 61 transactions, was a transaction coordinator on a team. And I realized I was just selling my time. It was like madness. I had no time to do anything else, bear in mind at the same time. Still W-2, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, trying to manage all that. And I did a lot of prospecting for expireds and canceleds. I don't know if you're familiar with those for real estate. I kind of fell into a deal when I went on to a listing appointment. This lady just said, hey, I wish I could get what I paid for my house 3 years ago. Well, I think I can do that. Let's try. So wrote an offer a day later, got accepted, closed on the first flip completely on accident, and just kind of went about it from there. So did my first flip, and then I feel like right after we went under contract, it must have been a couple weeks, but I got orders. So it's like I'm trying to finish this flip as I got orders. We're out processing. We're getting ready to move to Boise. By the way, we got orders to Idaho. I was the only person from California that did not want to relocate here. I knew nothing about
You were
Idaho.
forced here to Idaho?
Yes, but it worked out. I'm super thankful. So, full disclosure, my wife's grandfather is from Wilder. So he's a sheriff out there. So kind of full circle now.
Yeah.
Now that we're getting ready to retire from the Air Force and all that stuff. So later on. So yeah, kind of fell into that. October 2018, we got out here. The first day that I got out here, before I even checked into the house that we bought, I went to go take my test for my real estate license to get it out here in Idaho. Passed that, thankfully.
You said the first day?
The first day.
The first day.
The first thing that I did when I got here.
You talk about taking action.
Right.
Like you didn't even think about the action. You just did.
Yeah, it was awesome. Normal. So
I
wanted to get that done and kind of did a little Facebook stalking, see who the players were in the market before I got here. So I got that first flip and I realized that it was a lot more, wouldn't say like passive per se, but I can kind of control my own future because I can kind of control my own timelines, right? Like I'm not having to answer phone calls late at night. I'm not having to deal with clients, etc. So jumped right in after doing a little investigation, partnered with some great people, and went to a bunch of networking groups. And probably within my first week or two, contracted 2 deals to flip. So just jump right in, man. Let's
Jump
go.
right in. Yeah.
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 So
The person who fails the fastest learns the most.
right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
So I don't think we made too much money on the first two, maybe 5-10 grand if I'm lucky. I can't even remember it. I have to look at some statements and documents, but whatever, it worked out. So and then just kind of grew from there. Trying to get into some more flips. Obviously, the market was appreciating in 2018. We know that. And COVID kicked off. We had a few going at the same time, and definitely a little nerve wracking at that point. I think we had like 6 or 7 going, but just continued to kind of jump right in. And we've been doing about 20 to 30 flips a year since then.
So would you say flipping homes is like your bread and butter?
It was until probably about 2022, and then really wanted to learn how to diversify.
Okay.
My goal's been having multiple streams of income lately and having diversification
Yeah.
for stability.
Speaking of diversifying, I know there's multiple other facets of real estate that you do or businesses that you run. Can you tell us a little bit about each one?
Yeah, I hold a few rentals, nothing too much. I think we got 2 single families, a commercial spot, a little RV pad out in Crouch that has 13 spots. So that's cool. Then we do a lot of construction. I'm noticing as we kind of grow a little bit more after doing so many flips, like my biggest passion now is seeing the transformation I was mentioning to you earlier. So just really like seeing that. So we kind of jumped into a couple construction companies. One of them's kind of taken off, Garage Experts. We bought the business on the market, like nothing special. We're able to negotiate a seller finance deal. So we did a small down payment, about 25% of what they were asking for. We financed the rest over 25-year amortization on a 5-year balloon. And
You did creative financing on getting this business?
yes, sir.
Ah,
Yep, it was great.
yeah. Just real quick, just a side quest to this. I know a lot of people talk about doing creative financing with real estate.
Mhm.
What a lot of people don't know is you could do creative financing with a lot of things. People
Right.
buy construction equipment, they buy businesses. Like this is how people negotiated deals before like the mortgage ever really came out.
hmm
Yeah. I love that you leverage that power in everything you do. Yeah. Keep going.
Which is kind of funny because out of the couple hundred properties that we bought so far, I think I probably creative financed maybe 2 of them. So I have no idea how to do it in real estate, but business, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, just kind of rocking and rolling with Garage Experts a little bit. We're starting another one in Salt Lake City and just kind of cruising right along with my W-2 gigs still right now.
Right. Which you're still doing.
yeah.
A recruiter, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So, all right. So I want to back up a little bit and start from the beginning again, because you had your full-time career. You thought doing the Air Force active duty, that was your ticket
Mhm.
to retirement.
So I got
You're-
hurt.
until you got hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like this is all I want to do. And then you rolled into, you saw your Marine buddy do stuff, but you already had 3 properties, you said.
Mhm.
How did you come across like transitioning from the average person thinking, hey, when you buy a property, it's your primary residence. It's the only thing you buy. You can't afford more than 1 property.
Mhm.
How did you go about buying like 2 and 3 after that? Like what drove you to do that?
I think stability really, like growing up, like we had an average life. And then, later on, once I was a teenager, like my parents separated and it was really chaotic. So I left the house a little bit earlier when I was 16. But luckily, I met my wife right before I graduated high school. And she had a really normal upbringing, really sheltered in a way, but beneficial. So it's great. She kind of got me on the straight and narrow. She was adopted by her grandparents, and they just instilled like a lot of different traits in me. One of them being like figuring out how to look out for the future. Like at 18, like hearing the things that they'd share with me. It's like, no 18-year-old kids thinking about that, right?
Yeah.
But they're older in life. They were in their 60s at the time, and just hearing how they kind of structured their life kind of motivated me a little bit. And I wanted to keep a property at every place that I was stationed at. So kind of did that for a time.
Based on like the teachings and the upbringings that they were talking to you about, talking with you about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The stability, the retirement, that sort of thing later on down the road.
It's incredible where you find your mentors,
For
whether
sure.
you consider them mentors or not. But I personally feel that you can get advice from everybody, and everybody has something to give. It doesn't matter what stage of life they're at. Everybody lives a different life than you do, and there's something that you can learn from that.
Yeah.
I love that you capitalized, like you took your current situation, you made the most of it. You took this stuff to heart, and you're like, all right, let's see if this works.
For
right?
sure. Yep.
Okay. So you got a couple properties moving from station to station.
Mm-hmm.
And it was working out well. How was that working for you?
It's working out average.
It's work. Yeah.
I wasn't cash flowing, but I wasn't negative cash flowing either. I felt like I was breaking even, like uh, breaking in deals for like people within my shop, like, hey, just rent this property to cover my mortgage and it'll be fine because I'm just looking at like the
Please.
long term.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So, okay. You're doing this at a young age
Mhm.
and you now own more properties than somebody has probably owned in their entire life. How was that like for you mentally to have a full-time job? And oh, by the way, I also have to be a landlord and take care of tenants.
given that I knew the people, like it wasn't awkward or weird. It was just like normal.
Okay.
I feel like not my parents, my dad was an entrepreneur. So it was just kind of a normal thing, I guess.
All right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, because you took advantage of a situation that you were in. You were dealt a hand of cards and you just played those cards,
Mhm.
right? You took action
For
to
sure.
do so. You could have easily not done this. You could have easily not listened to grandparents. You could have easily just showed up to work 9 to 5, come home,
Mhm.
and you chose to move forward.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And it sounds like it was pretty successful. You then met a Marine buddy
Mhm.
who got out in 4 years. What were some of the things you learned with him?
Probably just some hard work, grit, determination. I mean, I think I already had those with the soft skills from the military, but the Marines are a little rougher, right?
Right.
So, yeah,
I couldn't eat as many crayons as they do. That's
for
that's
sure.
saying something.
No doubt. So yeah, just saw kind of what he was doing, developing a real estate team and everything like that. So kind of looked up to him a little bit. Granted, was never on his team or anything like that. Just kind of looked up to him.
It's amazing what you learn when you surround yourself with people who have either done it before or are doing more things than you, and just getting in that bigger pool of bigger fish. It allows you the opportunity to grow
For sure.
and learn from what they're doing. So did this inspire you to like, okay, I'm a landlord. I've got some properties. I know I kind of like real estate. Let me try something else and start being a realtor and build a team.
Absolutely. I mean, I didn't necessarily build a team at that time yet. That
Mhm.
was when I got to Idaho, but definitely wanted to sell more real estate, figure it out, get more rentals. Granted, during that time we didn't. California is not a great place to hold any rentals or
Yeah.
doors. So yeah.
But I like what you said. You wanted to figure it out.
Hmm.
And in my opinion, I believe that the best way to figure it out is to throw yourself in the fire and do the work.
Right.
If you want to become a realtor, go get your license and do the work. If you want to be a hard money lender, you want to use hard money, go work for a hard money lender, be a loan officer and do the work. If you want to be a flipper, get on a team,
Mhm.
join someone's team and learn the systems of what they do. If you want to build a syndication, invest in a syndication company and learn the systems and process. Business isn't hard. Doing things isn't hard. All you're doing is just copying what people did before you and just try to do it better.
Sure.
Try to put more energy, more hustle, more hard work into it. And it sounds like that's kind of been your mantra,
Yeah. For
moving
sure.
forward. Okay. And then you had a stellar year. You did 60 transactions and you're
Mhm.
like, okay, I think I got something here.
Yeah, this is great. except I
Years
have no
later,
time.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause you have no time with a full-time job.
Mhm.
And I'm sure you were gone for periods of time doing training and stuff weeks at a time too. So that plays a factor in it.
For sure.
When somebody tells me they've got no time to do something, I say, well, have you seen what Chris does?
Whatever.
Okay. So then, you get these orders to come to Idaho.
Mhm.
Life's uprooted.
Yeah.
You thought, hey, I'm finally figuring this out.
Right.
And you moved to Idaho. To tell us a little more about how it was your mindset to come in and day one, get your real estate license and then start to sell homes and make transactions. Like what gave you the drive to really push yourself and your abilities forward?
I think like the years from 2015 to 2018 were like really big growth years. Just like not necessarily like elevating your sphere of people or influence, but just being open to learn, reading, listening to podcasts. Like there was a point in my life where 2 years I didn't watch any TV.
Nice.
Super weird. I just
Yeah.
wanted to read all the time. So
Nice.
during that time, but I think just growing and figuring it out has kind of led me to wanting to jump right in Idaho and figuring it out.
Yeah. So tell us, moving to Idaho, you start flipping homes.
Mhm.
You got your real estate license. You're starting to learn the market. How does that look like for somebody who has a full-time job and they are trying to make one of the hardest things to do is flipping homes work
For
and
sure.
become successful and profitable? How does building that look like? Because that's why you're here today. Like I'm here to learn.
Yeah. So coming from California, it took me a while to kind of, I guess, slow down to Idaho life, if that makes sense. So it took me about a year to figure that out. And then I realized over time that is all about relationship in the valley, 100%. So just kind of connecting with the networking groups, having people surrounded in those networking groups that were abundance thinkers, whether they were wholesalers helping out with deals, whether they were other flippers or other investors sharing contractors, whether they were sharing resources for hard money lending. As long as you share, people will share with you. So I think you lead with value, provide value, and people will take care of you.
So that's how you were able to kind of find the networks and start building that foundation of a model to start flipping homes.
Right.
And that's going out and networking. I got to be honest.
Yeah.
I am an introvert. It may not seem like it, but like going out and showing my face and talking to people, that's scary.
Maybe I am too, though. I'm an introvert. So.
But you still managed to make it happen.
Yeah.
So were you going to meetups? Were you like joining Facebook groups? Like what, give us some like actual things that like you did to like meet these people.
For sure. I think the first one is the Facebook groups. Obviously, before I got here, I did a little research on the area, did a little investigating on Facebook. We played a lot of softball, so I joined softball groups.
Okay.
I do a lot of real estate, so I joined a lot of real estate groups.
Okay.
And kind of found out who some of the key players were, saw like on their Facebook, added them as friends, saw that they went to some of the networking groups here in the Valley. One of them was a Tuesday at 9 a.m. group that meets now at Fidelity National Title in Meridian. But that's been kind of a staple as many times as I can make it. My W-2 job.
Awesome.
I think that that group is filled with people that want to see others succeed. So
yeah, it sounds like there's really no wrong answer of where you go. You just have to. The most important thing is going and finding a place to
100%
to show up to.
Yeah, I try to go at least to a couple of weeks. So
yeah,
still
to this day,
absolutely build new relationships.
That's awesome. Yeah, I found it incredible that like the more events and venues and groups that you go to, the smaller the community gets.
For sure,
start to know everybody. And I think it's kind of cool. It's one of the special things, Boise has,
Yeah.
It's got a lot of like-minded people who share goals and visions that we can grow together. Kind of like Boise.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. So that's how you built the relationships. You figured out what my core processes are to start flipping. So now you're starting to find deals. You're starting to find a way to take down the deals.
Right.
Whatever capital raising that you were doing through your networking. And then you get your first flip. Okay.
Right.
Ta-da! Here we are. You've closed on the home. You're a realtor. You got everything taken care of, all the acquisition, and it's staring you in the face.
Right.
Now what? You swinging the hammer? You demoing? Is it all you? I mean,
if I'm doing the work, man, we're in trouble. So, no, I've always think that I've never considered myself a flipper. I've never really considered myself a business owner. I've considered myself like a person that just kind of combines resources to get something done.
Okay.
So. Always try to do that. Connected with somebody that was from the same area through a mutual acquaintance that we knew. Probably did about 10 or 15 with him before we kind of outgrew each other a little bit. He was wanted to do a couple at a time.
Okay.
Wanted to do more. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So partnerships. Partnerships are huge.
For sure.
We've talked about this in the podcast before too. Actually, I think it might have been our last episode. We were talking about partnerships, but I found that you can go further, farther, faster.
Absolutely.
By partnering up with people. There are a lot of people here that share the same goals, the same mindset, and have the same vision for their future as you do. And they just want to grow and grow with you.
Yeah.
I'd rather have a small piece of a big pie than a big piece of a small pie.
For sure.
This show would not be possible without the support from our local community. Because of you, we're able to share information from leading professionals like never before. That's why our sponsors at Boise Turnkey Investments and Your Stay B&B have teamed up with the Boise REIN Show. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned pro, they help bring you all the insider information to get you started on your journey today. Back to the show. Okay, so spent 2 years doing that, which is awesome because now you're really honing in your craft and you're really making it happen. You're like, hey, this is working out. Okay, so at this point now you're going off on your own.
No,
per se.
For a hot second.
For an odd second.
Yeah.
Until you filled in some gaps.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Would you say that in doing so, it allowed you to make better processes or build on the systems you already have, or did you just repeat and repeat?
So I've never been a process guy. Like when I do
what from the Air Force?
Right. I know. Weird.
Yeah.
When I do like the Gallup survey or the DISC personality, Gallup specifically, like I'm the visionary. So I need an integrator.
Yep.
So ironically enough, I had a family friend move up here to Idaho from California that I used to play softball with. So he moved up here. He did a little side work for me on the weekends. He was doing maybe ESI work or something at the time in construction. But his brother-in-law ended up out here. They were to start a manufacturing plant for HVAC distribution. So he ran manufacturing plants in Southern California. Before that, he did some construction. Before that, he's owned his own auto enhancement company, like lifts, tires, stereos. So he's always kind of been a process guy, a business owner.
Yeah.
And kind of linked up with him, ironically enough, knew him for probably 7-8 years through my friend, because he was the brother-in-law of my friend.
Okay.
But linked up arms with him in March of 2020, right when COVID pretty much kicked off, because they kind of throttled back with the manufacturing plant out here. And thankful that I have, and been with them ever since. So
that's awesome. But what I have found is that you've just given away your secret.
Right.
Your secret to real estate and being successful is joining a softball team.
Right. There you go.
Everything you have gotten
right.
and learned, and the people you've met it sounds like it's all been through softball. And for me, it's finding the who's in your life. Not how am I going to get something done, but who can I find that shares the same goals as me, that I can elevate and have them do their passions while I'm doing my passions at the same time, and just forming the best team.
For sure.
It's like having a softball team.
There you go.
You're building a softball team, an all-star softball team. So how does that look when you transition into this next phase?
Ironically enough, there was some growing pains here and there trying to figure it out. Coming from the last partnership was just kind of not abundance-based, not like, let's get a lot done. Let's move the needle for the community. Let's move the needle for employees. Let's do bigger and better things. So it took some trust building through that. But over time, we really defined our roles. That was super helpful. Kind of like a business. A business operates very strategic, in my opinion. I mean, you obviously have the leader, but in my opinion, the two most important factors are sales and operations. So I very much, for the last few years, have focused on sales, whatever that may entail, from marketing to sales to networking to relationships. And my business partner, I think, has been to one networking event, and he's focused everything on operations and has an awesome mind for everything detail-oriented. So
that's huge. Finding the different aspects of a business of two people who, like a visionary and integrator, can really grow things into something I've never seen before. Like, because growing with that person will take you to new levels that you never really could reach on your own. So now that we've figured out how you are able to manage so many projects at a time, what are some of your biggest lessons learned on what makes successful flips happen?
I think with my old business partner, my new business partner, it was a different mindset.
Okay.
I've always wanted to do the right thing, live my life with integrity, even to the detriment of less profitability or maybe breaking even on a deal here and there. But I think it's very important to make sure everything health and safety is done, whether it's roof, whether it's windows, whether it's electrical, plumbing, HVAC, just making sure that you're providing a resource and leading with value in the community to the new home buyer. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've learned that's helped kind of set me apart.
So for those flippers out there who are either struggling or trying to take it to the next level, your advice would be to lead with value and try to grow something that is good for the community, that's going to be good for the buyer, because that's always going to pay tenfold on the return on the backside.
For sure. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So you heard it, no, don't, nothing about managing, your funds or figuring out how much we have to spend on material for this flip. It's how can we make this the best home possible for the next person so it can move on and keep adding value as we move forward.
Not necessarily the best home, but the safest home.
Oh,
so
okay. That makes a difference. Yeah.
We're very systematic now in the approach. We don't use a different floor. We don't use a different paint color. We don't use a different tile. Everything is the same and everything is super boring.
Okay.
But it's super safe.
Okay.
So we're kind of able to determine our numbers because we're not changing out different finishes or fixtures.
Okay.
We know exactly what we're doing. We know to the cost per square foot of what paint's going to be to how many door handles and what that's going to cost. So it's kind of crazy.
You're the Henry Ford of houses.
Maybe. I like efficiency though.
You like your efficiency. You got the right, what works. You've tested it. I'm sure this really helps on the back end too. I don't know if you go and revisit properties that something breaks, you got to go to fix, but I'm sure this has to help on the back end too.
Luckily, we haven't had that issue too many times.
Because you're the Henry Ford of flipping. I love it.
I love business partner.
Yes. Well, it sounds like you guys make a really good team. And it sounds like this has really allowed you to free up a lot of time to do what you're passionate about, which, like you said, is sales and trying to find the next deals.
For sure.
Okay. So you've got a lot more time on your hands now.
Right.
Like you've got a great system, the machine is running smoothly. You're going faster on that track. Now it's time to move into the next thing. And I know you have a lot of next things.
Right.
Let's talk about another one of your businesses.
So 2022, the market was shifting, as we all know, a little bit. So even before that, we were looking at ways to diversify because we knew the train wasn't lasting forever with the equity raising, things like that in the valley. But we jumped into a business. We really liked construction. We understood it. And we found a business called Garage Experts of Boise again. And just found that, evaluated it, and then grew it to about 2.5 times this past year, which has been great.
In 1 year.
In 1 year, just with some extra marketing. Getting everything kind of dialed in on the operations side. It's been great.
That's awesome. So you say we.
Mhm.
Am I safe to assume that it's the same business partner?
Yes, absolutely.
Nice. You guys make a really good team.
Yeah, it's great.
Finding the who's in your life, because for him, you're his who.
Right.
He
For
needs
sure.
somebody that's going to do your job, and you need someone that's
Likewise.
going to go his job.
Yeah.
That's fantastic, because now he's able to focus on doing what he's loving really good at.
Mhm.
That's building a really great product for the client and just having the most awesome, is it floors?
Yes.
Is that what
Garage
specifically what you
Experts
do
does epoxy floors and cabinets for garages.
for garages? Is it in commercial space or anything?
Yeah, we'll do some commercial stuff too.
Yeah, nice. And it allows you to do what you love doing, is like building that. You're the revenue generator.
Right.
You're out there making the sale, talking to people,
I was until
rubbing
recently.
elbows.
Until recently.
Till recently.
Yeah.
So is this also have to do with how you scale and manage multiple businesses?
I think it was kind of on accident. So in basically the end of 2022, I was starting my terminal leave for active duty Air Force. It was about 18 years in. They said, hey, it's time for you to go somewhere else. You've been here for 5 years, so pick somewhere else. I kept saying no, and I could only say no so long before it was going to come.
Oh, they were going to kick you out of Boise.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I needed to leave for 2 more years to get to my 20 years for retirement.
Yeah.
So, I had to figure that out a little bit, and super thankful that I joined the Idaho Air National Guard, kind of continue my service there. Did some part-time stuff for them for about 6-7 months.
Uh-huh.
But realized that I wanted my pension at 20 years, being at 18 years in a couple months. Like I'm so close.
So close.
But
like money aside, like it's the
completion. It's not the money. It's
exactly.
Like, yeah,
I've got to see this through.
right. I
It was
sold my
instilled
best
into
years.
us.
I'm joking. So wanted to finish that up, and thankfully found a sales manager lately for Garage Experts.
Okay.
So yeah, just kind of focusing on the marketing, more of the higher level stuff, reviewing numbers, things like that.
All right, I take it back. Softball wasn't your secret. It's finding the who's in your life that
Maybe.
that can really fill those voids. So you could ultimately do what you're passionate about, because for them, you're the who, just like I said before. And now you found a sales manager who really loves doing sales.
Yeah, but the who's always come from your sphere, your life.
They do.
In my opinion.
Yes.
Like it's not about putting an ad on Indeed, like those employees or those partners never last. It's about who you know, in my opinion.
Okay.
And get to know.
So it is a mix of still building that softball team and showing up to practice.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe no.
Yeah. Yeah. But like also like encouraging others, to do what they want to do. I'm sure that's involved when you're networking, like just encouraging them, like, hey, take the step, take the action.
For sure.
Is there any one thing when you're having a conversation, somebody's on the fence about, I know this is what I want to do, but I don't know that I can do it?
I feel like I get to know somebody long enough where we know each other. Ironically enough, the sales manager that's helping out for Garage Experts also does my listings and kind of helps write offers now. But I met him through a flip that we were doing because we were all in his neighborhood doing a bunch of properties on the bench back in 2020.
Nice.
So he hunted us down, but got to know him for about a year, probably a year and a half, 2 years almost, before we started working together. So I think just taking it slow and understanding not what people want. That's a bad choice of words, but like leading with value and seeing what you can do to help elevate them. They can do to help elevate you and like build something bigger together.
Yeah.
And then everybody wins.
That's one of my favorite things about being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You're out there to help people. That's what you want to do ultimately. Like, yes, you're building a revenue generating business, but that's what allows you to have the I'm not going to say time in front of you, because I feel like that's an insult, because you do so many things, right? But it's what allows you to build the time to, to help build others up too. And that's what you want to do. That's what we all want. We just want to help people.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's going super successful, and it's gone so well that you're building a business that's 2x in a year. And now you're moving to Salt Lake too. You're going to move it down, not moving, but opening another one in Salt Lake.
We opened up one at the beginning of this month in November. So going to see how that goes, because being that it's a franchise, all the SOPs are dialed in. Everything's kind of set up. The decisions we're making one time are in Boise. So we can kind of utilize those decisions already in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to buy 5 or 10 of those bad boys.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
If there's anyone out there listening that wants to get involved in franchises and learn more, the best way to do it is get in the business. And I'm sure there are plenty of things that Chris needs help.
For sure.
Okay, let's talk about this franchise here for a second. I've always wanted to buy a franchise and just learn the systems and how franchises are structured. But I don't know how to get into one. Can you talk a little bit about, you found this franchise, this business, and you want to purchase it? Because I know there's a little story behind how you went about doing it.
Right. So I guess we just kind of accidentally fell into it. Like I'm always, for the last couple of years at least, we've been on Biz Buy Sell. Are you familiar with that website?
Yeah, the website.
Yeah, for the
Here,
businesses. Yeah. So just kind of poking around on there. But at no time do we say like we're going to buy a franchise.
Yeah.
We just wanted to find a business that we can grow and create another extra income. So just happened to be a franchise.
Right on. And how did you purchase it? Was it creative?
It was creative. So
It was creative.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ended up, I think they wanted $499 to begin with. I think they dropped the price to $300. We ended up settling up, I think, at $181 with $120,000 in trucks and assets.
Okay.
They were doing about $200K in profit a year already. So we got it for a significantly good deal.
Yeah.
But more importantly, we got it for that seller finance. We did $50K down. And again, we did a 5-year balloon with 25-year amortization. So
Yeah. So the company paid for buying itself.
exactly.
And thank you for sharing that, because I want to bring up like the hurdle that was in front of you, this big wall that you're trying to break through. It was that $499 purchase price.
Mhm.
And that deters a lot of people. But the mindset that you have moving into is like, just take action, just start.
Right.
You got to start somewhere, even if just making a phone call and
Mhm.
seeing what their needs are.
For sure.
That starts the conversation. What are they looking for? And then the path will open itself to you from there,
Mhm.
as long as you take action
As long as you're solving problems too, taking action and solving problems for
Yep.
others. So
Yeah.
for sure.
and leading with value.
Yes, sir.
Nice. Okay. So that's going super well. Your flips are going super well. You started recruiting again
Right.
to get your last 2 years
Yeah.
done. That's going super well.
We'll see. So it's a little bit different than 10 years ago, but it'll be okay.
Sure. The time's still ticking down. It's
Yeah.
going in the right direction
For sure.
this time. All right. So what else you got? I know you got some more things. You talked about a couple long terms, commercial property,
Mhm.
a RV park.
Yep.
How do you manage that?
Property managers.
Property managers. They're worth their weight
There
in
you
gold,
go.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I gotta say, I don't mean to be biased. I'm a property manager too, as are you, but
Not anymore.
you're not anymore.
No, sir.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you were in that industry and then you got out. You found your
Yeah,
time is better
for-
served elsewhere.
for a short time. Yeah.
All right.
We found out not the lady, she's a friend. The friend that we partnered with in the property management company, she had more of a passion for it. So it was nice to kind of give her that company and go from there. So
Yeah.
super cool.
That is super
She's
cool.
probably managing 50, 60 doors now. So
Really?
yeah, it's great.
Yeah. It's amazing when you just put the right people in the right seats.
Mhm.
They do more than excel. They flourish.
For sure.
You're really good at this.
Maybe. Just surrounded by good people, man.
Right? Right.
I'm
Yeah.
just the average dude.
I feel like most of the people like you say that.
No,
And
maybe.
that's why we appreciate you coming on and sharing your story with everybody, because it really can be that simple as just being a good dude.
Mhm.
It's,
For sure.
okay. So you also have your own investments in RV park, and, you found the right person to help you with that. And
Mhm.
again, a small piece of a big pie, and, you're looking to move forward. Is there anything else that I'm missing here?
I think that's about it for now, hopefully.
Are you
So,
still a realtor?
yeah, yes and no.
Yeah.
I
I know
still
you,
have
I
my
know you got
license.
your sales guy, right?
Yeah.
You still got your license.
So
Yeah.
we have a small little team. He does most of the transactions now. So
Okay.
it's been good.
Okay. So you've got all these businesses, and I really, again, appreciate you sharing. But what's your vision and what's your goal moving forward? Because you've exceeded and excelled at all of these things. So where do you go from here? How does that even look?
So I think I kind of had a forced vision going back into the full-time W-2 gig recently.
Yep.
So my vision actually looks like removing myself more and more from any of the daily business situations, whether that's managing the sales managers, at a higher level, whether that's, acquiring deals more on a part-time basis, through relationships. But my whole goal is just time and freedom making sure that I have enough time for my kiddos, making sure I have enough time for my spouse.
Yeah.
Been married for 18 years. I got a 16 and 12-year-old. So
Nice.
we're busy and I want to spend time with them, man.
Yeah, busy enough. Yeah, everyone talks about FIRE, financial
Mhm.
independence, retire early. And they just, it's hard to communicate what type of work ethic that takes to get to FIRE. And you've put in at least 18 years worth of it,
Right.
just to get to this point. But to me, after hearing your story, it sounds like the biggest lesson you've learned is how to, work hard at something, get really good at it, and then still being able to step back.
Right.
I feel like it's your baby when you're building something, not to just hand it off, but like to partner with somebody to share your baby, and then take a step back from your baby.
Mhm.
I know for me thinking about it, it would be super hard for me too, but it seems like you've done a really good job of doing that so far, and almost like it's your specialty,
Maybe.
but
It's funny though, because you talk about FIRE and like that sounds good on paper, but I feel like I'd be bored in my 40s or my 50s retired. Like I talked to my business partner. I'm like, what does retirement look like to you? And he's like, honestly, retirement probably looks like working like 10, 20 hours a week,
still,
but
yeah,
having the control to do what I want is what
Yeah.
he says.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same thing for me.
yeah,
So
definitely.
I want to be involved, still provide value, help people out, and still be involved in the business
Yeah.
because I get bored watching TV or reading man, or traveling. So
Well, you're certainly helping a lot of us out here by sharing the story,
thank you.
and now you're going to have more time for softball.
There we go.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Well, Chris, thank you so much for sharing your story here with us today.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot. I thought time management was I need to work harder, but it sounds like time management means I need to work less, and get other people around me who want to do the same stuff that I'm doing and growing with me to do those same things.
For sure.
All right. So the last question I always ask is, for the audience listening, what's one actionable item that you think they could take today that is going to get them closer to their goals tomorrow?
So it's cliche, but people say take action, but I actually mean take action, like learn through what you're figuring out. Me getting my license when I first got here, like I'm just going to plow through this and figure it out and make mistakes and stumble through it. Like be okay making those decisions, making sure they're analytical decisions at the same time. You see so many people in networking groups that are afraid to take act. Well, not afraid, but maybe they're just overly analytical, but take action,
Yeah.
please.
Jocko Willings talks a lot about extreme ownership.
Hmm.
I think on the other hand, you're talking about extreme action.
Right.
The day you moved here, you got your real estate license. You did not wait for anybody.
Right.
You just went in and failed as early as you could. You
For
sold
sure.
one home that year?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who cares?
Right.
You're learning, right?
Yeah.
And you're that much further ahead than the guy that's not taking action.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, for those who want to reach out or they want to help you and be that who in your life, to get you to where you want to go, is there anywhere they can reach you?
Yeah. Probably Facebook's the best. Just look me up.
Facebook?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Chris, again, thanks for coming on today, and look forward to working with you in the future.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt.